I am Michelle Arévalo Carpenter,
I'm Justin Schwartz.
and we are the co-founders of IMPAQTO Capital. And so IMPAQTO Capital is a fund manager based out of Quito, Ecuador. And we have a mandate of being that trusted capital intermediary that will bring capital towards impact in the Andean region. At this point, we're focused on Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. So why the Andean region? We think that the Andean region is a place of opportunities. It's one of the fastest growing smaller markets in Latin America. We have actually seen that the middle class continues to expand. And with that, opportunities for small and medium companies, but also a lot of impact entrepreneurs that aspire perhaps not to be a unicorn, but to be a good zebra. Zebra companies are these companies that have deep roots in their community, that aspire to do much more than just increase their profits, but to also improve their communities. So that is where we operate. We so far have implemented our Fund 1. Our pilot fund had a number of hypotheses that we wanted to prove, and I'm happy to report here today that we have actually successfully proven a few of them.
Our goal is to show that there's sufficient pipeline in the Andean region and these smaller markets of impact companies with high potential to invest in. We also have a strategy around capital that's designed based on the entrepreneur's need. And so our first fund and our focus now is mezzanine debt, particularly revenue-based financing and other flexible instruments that allow the payments to adapt to the cash flow of the company and provide that flexible financing that companies need to grow and deepen their impact at the early stage. So we've been able to show there's pipeline in the Andean region to invest with innovative financial instruments and to build a portfolio of really high-impact companies.
So to summarize, I guess, we see a huge potential, a huge opportunity. We also see that there's not a lot of impact investment players in the region. I mean, you couple that with the problem, it's a challenge to have such a large gap in finance. The missing middle of finance is usually defined as this gap between the most that a microfinance company will actually invest in the region, and then you have commercial capital, commercial loans, and that gap actually represents the exact same gap that we see in the potential for growth for small and medium companies. So SMEs in the region are far more than just any type of company. SMEs in the region are our hope for stability, for jobs that will stay, and for resilient growth of the private sector. All of those markers tend to be also markers for stable societies that are not polarized, that tend to be democratic, and that tend to have a growing middle class. So when people say, hey, why is your fund an urgent thing that should go above anything else? Well, we think it's urgent because right now we're at a breaking point. The Andean region needs to understand which way it's going to grow. And yes, there are many hypotheses about how to grow better in the Andean region, but we actually believe that growing along small and medium companies through patient capital that are actually rooted in communities is the way to go.
I mean, I think smaller markets, the challenge that smaller markets like those in the Andean region have is that many regional and global investors, as you say, are looking at the bigger markets and are not even I have this bias against smaller markets, and part of that's because there have been a small number of local fund managers who have been able to show that there's pipeline and that fund managers that are proximate, that are living in the region they're investing in, have been able to show, not been able to show yet that there's enough pipeline. And so that's what we're looking to kind of be this frontier manager in the region, and for other global and regional managers to follow us.
Yeah. And I guess to touch upon the concept of approximate fund managers, we're wondering, why are people not seeing the same opportunities we see? And that's because we have boots on the ground. So you understand risk in a very different way if you get to talk to entrepreneurs on a day-to-day basis about how do you overcome things like a social uprising. It's happening in healthy democracies, it happens in not so healthy democracies as well, but it's a fact of life. not just in the Andean region, everywhere across the continent, including the United States and Canada. So when you see businesses that are so resilient, that can pick up right, like the day right after, maybe like a 5-day closure, and continue to make payroll, to make payments on their debts, to continue to grow and to continue to sell, well, that's of course a business I want to invest in. So to take it up again, I think that like risk recession is actually a market failure. When you are watching the Andean region from a place like Miami, we have great colleagues in Miami, but when you don't really understand what the circumstances are at play and all the opportunity gaps that are there, then of course all the fund managers that don't participate in these beautifully growing markets, then it's them who miss out. So in a way, by creating IMPAQTO Capital as this trusted partner that is investing in the region with boots on the ground, we're actually also unlocking all these other opportunities for co-investment. We're de-risking the region just by the fact that we are investing there. And of course, we really understand our pipeline because we've been operating there for almost a decade. So IMPAQTO Labs is a spin-off company separate from IMPAQTO. IMPAQTO with a Q, the mother company, what we call it, was originally started to start giving a home to social entrepreneurs in the region. And it was interesting because even at the time, the whole concept of social enterprise wasn't really understood. So it's almost we had to go and get people to recognize each other. It's almost like we had to go find the heroes and make them wear the cape. And once that was understood, of course, IMPAQTO ended up growing from a co-working space to an accelerator incubator program to then also a social innovation consulting company. And this kind of group of companies, we're there to build up the opportunities for social entrepreneurs and, of course, create better conditions for the entrepreneurs. At that time, Justin joined IMPAQTO Capital, and he led our accelerator, which has now graduated over 500 social entrepreneurs from the region. And then it was a point where we started seeing that these graduates from this accelerator and all these other companies that we have been mapping out and getting them to wear the hero's cape, they were ready. They were ready for investments. And we thought to ourselves, okay, all they need to do is we need to do something like FLII. So I came to FLII and I said, wow, this is incredible. We need to be able to pair up these social entrepreneurs with investors. And we invited them over and we created FLII. FLII is the Cumbre Latinoamericana de Inversión de Impacto en Quito. And with that idea to just, clearly if we connect the capital with the opportunities, money will flow. And we were surprised when it didn't happen. So that's when we started asking, right? Why aren't you investing? And then we realized that most of the funds that were investing more broadly beyond Mexico and Brazil weren't actually ready or built or designed for the purpose of investing in smaller markets like the Andean region. So that's where Justin comes in. And he said, well, sounds like we need to create a fund.